it's just it's a hard time. It's a really hard time to be a trans person. Hello my lovelies, my name is Stephanie, or Steph. You can call me whatever you like, unless it's transphobic. Don't call me that. And this is my denim jacket, and welcome back, or welcome to my lovely YouTube channel. I took a couple of weeks off for two reasons. First of all, it's been an incredibly difficult time to be a trans or queer person anywhere in the world, but especially in the UK recently. And it felt inappropriate to make this video during the month of February, during LGBTQ+ History Month, because it's the time where we're celebrating who we are, we're celebrating our history. And the other reason is I had an allergic reaction to someone's dog, and so I'm still dealing with some like leftover sinus issues from that. So that's why I've been gone, but thank you so much for being patient and waiting for me. I promise it won't be 3 weeks again. I make videos on most Mondays. So welcome back to my channel. And as you can tell by the title of this video, being trans can be really difficult. Being trans can be a very, very difficult thing, a difficult life to lead, a difficult road to trudge. And so much of who I am and so much of my identity is about presenting to the world a very joyful representation of what it means to be trans. And that's not to say that being trans doesn't come with joy. I am very lucky to be trans. I would rather be trans than be cis, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I would love to be a cis woman. But I feel that one of the things I do on my channel, and one of the things I do on my channel quite well, but you know, is a double-edged sword, is I present this very kind of bubbly outlook on what it means to be trans. And that honestly is my truth. I'm a very giggly person, I'm a very bubbly person. It feels extremely unnatural for me to kind of sit and talk quite seriously in this way, because so much of who I am is raising awareness through joy and wanting to do that. And I think that a lot of my audience on YouTube comes to me for that. You know, it's the serious issues in pastel packaging. That's very much my vibe. But the last few weeks in the United Kingdom, it's been an incredibly difficult time to be a trans person. Now, I'm not saying that being a trans person is the hardest thing to do in the United Kingdom. There are many, 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 many countries where it is still not only villainized, criminalized, people are killed for it, but in the UK, during the month of February, we had the anniversary of the murder of Brianna Ghey in the United Kingdom. And then about 2 days afterwards, after the anniversary, there was an incident where another trans teenage girl, was stabbed in North London. And obviously I live in London. And then the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom made a very pointed transphobic remark to vilify the trans community and to use us as a scapegoat from the fact that he is an awful politician who has never contributed anything positive. Whilst the mother of Brianna Ghey was in the House of Commons in the United Kingdom, which is where all of our parliament happens, and the news coverage of that has been horrific. Trans people are being attacked online. I know recently an article of Charlie Craig's has been written and published by the Daily Mail specifically vilifying her as an individual person. So setting the entire readership of the Daily Mail against a specific identified trans person. And it's just been a really shit time to be an openly trans person. It's been a difficult time to be a trans person. It's been a difficult time to be a queer person in America. A non-binary teenager, Next Benedict, was also killed during the month of February. And I think the reason I've been struggling with this so much, don't get me wrong, it's not a woe is me. It's not my I'm very, very privileged to live my life and to still be here, because there have been moments where I could have not been. But the reason this has been such a challenging month and period of time for me is because I transitioned as a teenager. Because God, I am like livid. I'm so like, the reason it's been so difficult for me is because I transitioned as a teenager. So I know how isolating it can be to be a trans teenager and to be a trans person. And for these teenagers who will feel at their most vulnerable, the most isolated, with hate being poured through their phones via social media, via news outlets, via publications, it really broke me for a good couple of weeks. And it's not like me to get so angry. And it made me want to make this video because the thing is, being trans is joyful. Being a trans person, I think, provides you with a level of understanding for the human experience that most other people don't get. I think we're the most empathetic. I think we're the most understanding and open-minded. I think we understand more than anyone the struggles with identity, the struggles with humanity, the struggles with politics. I think as trans people, our insights into the human condition are exemplary. I think if trans people around the world, it would be a much kinder world. But it's hard. It is a hard thing. You know, I have obviously been I'm about to turn 27. So my transition's been 15 years. Oh my God, it's been 15 years. So I've been actively transitioning for 15 years now. And it doesn't get easier. You just learn to deal with it in different ways. So you obviously, you go through the hormone therapy and if you choose to, you go through the surgery and the name change and, all of this is, other than perfect eyebrows, it's just a lot of effort. But you develop different coping mechanisms and you develop joy around those things. I don't think it necessarily gets easier as a process. I think you control the process around it. I think the process remains, but you control the world around it so that the process feels less difficult. But being a trans person, and I know that I might spread this as a misillusion, but I don't want anyone to feel that it's an easy thing to do, because it's a really hard thing to be a trans person in this world. It's a hard thing to transition. It's a hard and brave thing to see the world for what it is and choose to be who I am. And obviously I choose to do that very publicly. And I'm not saying that being trans is a choice, but going through your transition and putting yourself out there and going through hormone replacement, there are choices that we make along the way. And it's just, I will never stop spreading positivity for trans people. I will never stop trying to platform myself as a beacon of joy and happiness, and I will never stop trying to be that person, because I genuinely believe It is one of my jobs to spread awareness through joy and to help people feel less alone. But part of helping people feel less alone is when they're down, they're down, and when they're up, they're up. And with me, when I'm up, I'm up, and I try to always present as being up. But I think part of my responsibility as a public trans person, as an advocate, as an activist, is to also be honest about when I'm down. And at the moment, it's just a hard time. It's a really hard time to be a trans person. But we move on. We remember Brianna, we remember Dex, we remember all of the fallen trans and non-binary and gender non-conforming siblings that we've unfortunately lost along the way. We persevere through the bad times. We create our own worlds around our process and around our transition. And we acknowledge that it's a hard thing. Let's not pretend like we're not a bit hard done by, or that what we're doing isn't an incredibly difficult thing, because it is such a hard thing. And I hate the fact that talking about trans being a bad thing is so often distorted against us, because as a community, persevering through such a difficult process and banding together and finding groups of people and individuals who inspire us and captivate us and motivate us to move ourselves forwards is such an important part of being a trans person. Being a trans person is hard, and there are a lot of people who are trying to stamp on us and keep us down and stop us from celebrating and advocating. But as trans people, we're inherently brave. We understand more about the human condition than other people can ever expect to understand, because of the issues that we've had to persevere through, because of the prejudice that we've witnessed and we are witnessing right now. And I think it's so important to just take a minute and say, do you know what? Being trans is really hard. But there is joy in it. There is joy on the other side. I don't want anyone who's seeing the things that they're seeing in the news, or the things that the Prime Minister is saying, or the things that the Daily Mail is publishing, and think that there is no light at the end of the tunnel, because it is hard. It is a hard journey, but there is joy in it, just like with everything else in life. You find the joy, and at the beginning it feels like there's none, and at the end you wonder how you ever looked at your life and thought that there was no joy to be found. So that's today's video. Being trans is hard. Being trans can suck. But I'm still here, and you're still here, and we'll get through it. But that's this week's video. It's important for me to share with you the ups and the downs. And the last couple of weeks has just been a bit of a downs. What are you gonna do? I hope you're having a lovely day. I hope you are avoiding transphobia. I hope you're keeping off of the news apps. My God. Go outside, touch the grass. Be thankful for being trans. It's a gift and a curse. No, wait, it's a blessing and a curse. I will see you very soon for another video. Bye, guys.